Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Hello there, it's the Racing Post Weekend Football Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington and I'm delighted to be joined by a fantastic panel this week comprising the two wise owls from the Racing Post Football Desk, Mark Langdon and Dan Childs, and also the welcome return of Paddy Power's Ed Quigley, who has been globe-trotting around the Far East and Southeast Asia, but thankfully is back now. He's got all the prizes, hopefully plenty of winners as well, as have Mark and Dan. We're going to do 6 questions, which will cover the burning issues of the day. Then we're going to look at the 4 live games, all the other Premier League games. We're going to pinpoint the value further down the leagues, right across Europe, and we'll even have a little look at next week's Champions League. It's the final round of group matches. So, and also, notwithstanding that, was also the competition as well. So you can win a £25 or €25 bet. First of all, though, it's the 6 questions the lads get 2 each, and then get to answer the one they wish they'd been asked. Now then, I've got 2... Tottenham fans here, both smarting. Mark, I'm afraid you've got to take this one. In terms of points, Spurs are going to go into December nearer to the bottom of the table than the top, which is absolutely incredible. What's gone wrong?
Well, I mean, I think there's a little bit of regression to the mean in some parts. I mean, obviously they should be ahead of Burnley, but in terms of the big 6, I mean, there's not a great deal between all of them. And I think we've had a Man U in crisis, we've had a Liverpool in crisis, a Chelsea in crisis.
Arsenal always.
So I mean, it's just Tottenham's turn, I think. So I'm not. It's gone from a blip to a wobble. I think I saw somebody on Twitter refer to it, which I think
What's the next phase after a wobble?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a reaction. I think a positive reaction. I mean, some people have suggested that Pochettino's book has had something to do with it. Again, I just think we're looking for excuses.
Looking for narrative.
Yeah,
Everyone looks for narrative, don't they? Kevin Pulling once wrote an article that said some things just happen.
Yes, they do. I mean, they lost the North London derby, and I think that was a blow to them. Definitely, Alderweireld's injury, again, I think is probably, he's their best defender. Against Leicester on Tuesday, I mean, Mahrez and Vardy have scored great goals, and Tottenham have missed really good opportunities. So I just think it's happened. Just bad stuff is happening to them at the moment. Maybe walked into West Brom at the wrong time after Pulis had just been sacked, and Megson got a little reaction from West Brom. Leicester have scored some unbelievable goals, like I say, and Arsenal are a good team. So I wouldn't be panicking just yet. Okay. They're in a battle for the top 4. I think it's been that way from the start of the season. I think it'll be that way at the end.
They can certainly still qualify, they can't.
Of course, well, they could win the Champions League and qualify that way. I mean, they are. There's not much between, say, if you take the Manchester clubs, as many people do as the best 2. There's not that much between.
Man City are the best, but I don't think Man United are clear second best.
Maybe not. I mean, they are churning out the results. I mean, all I'm saying is there wouldn't be that much between Tottenham and Chelsea, for instance. Or Tottenham beat Liverpool very convincingly. They were not far off being favourites at the Emirates the other week. So I don't think there's a great deal wrong. They've got a tricky game on Saturday, though, against Watford. If they don't win that one, I think there will be a bit of panic setting in.
OK, Dan, will Big Sam steer Everton to safety?
Yeah, I mean, it's what he does, isn't it? I mean, he's got that fantastic... Just the fact that he's been appointed seemed to lift the players, doesn't it, to perform to a high level against West Ham.
He's the right man for the job, wasn't he?
He's the right man, I think, for the short term. I mean, they are... Even despite the West Ham result, I'm not sure, as I've said many times before, about the balance of the squad. I think that needs to change in January. I mean, his teams normally have a strong spine. They've not got a centre forward to rely on at the moment. The centre backs are unconvincing. They're still, I think West Ham overtook them as the worst defence in the league with that result, but it's still got the second worst defence in the league. He's going to be looking to address that straight away. But no, I think they needed somebody to make sure that they survive, and he's the man to do that. Long term, I can see why Everton fans are concerned about where he's going to take the team long term, but that's for another day, I think.
I just hope he keeps picking Tom Davies, because honestly, this guy, Theresa May tells us there's no such thing as a magic money tree, but just keep backing him, first booking and any time booking. He's an absolute walking yellow card, he really is. Ed, your first question. Man City have won their last 2 games 2-0, needed late goals in each case. Is this a sign of champions? You know, everyone says, they win when they're not playing well, albeit they did probably play well. Or is there a sign that they are wobbling a little bit, do you think?
Oh, no, I think it's a sign of champions. We saw this historically with Fergie's United teams back in the day. And they're showing that kind of similar kind of swagger now with, last-minute victories and all that kind of stuff. And, their stats, their shot stats are phenomenal. Even last night, they absolutely battered Southampton. They look like a very, very good team. The prices they're going off, they're almost like a Barcelona now within the Premier League or Real Madrid, that kind of ilk. They're very highly rated, and I see them they're definitely going to win the league in my opinion anyway.
And how big a kick in the bollocks was that Raheem Sterling goal for the company last night?
It was a bit of it wasn't a great result, because you're obviously building up a lot of money in play, and the money will all come on one side, that being City, obviously. But we've had a few other results during the week as well that weren't too bad. So yeah, it's not all bad, And
what's the latest Premier League prices, Ed?
So the Premier League now is currently Man City are 10s on, United 10-1, Chelsea 25s, Liverpool and Arsenal are both 40s, Tottenham are 100s, and it's 750 bar.
Okay. Mark, how will Pards get on as West Brom's boss?
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one, actually. I have to say, I think that Pardew, throughout his time, has been a very streaky manager, hasn't he? Where, I think at Palace and Newcastle, we saw them go on runs where, they looked really good. But when they actually went in a downward spiral, on each occasion, he's been unable, actually, to turn it around. And I'm not sure he's that much better than Tony Pulis. I mean, he probably speaks a better game in terms of what he wants, and he's, we're going to be, more attacking, play with more freedom. I'm not necessarily sure about that. I don't have him down as somebody that, he's not Kevin Keegan, isn't he, in his approach. I think West Brom maybe just about survive. I think it would have been the case under Tony Pulis. I think they had to act because the fans had just got so negative towards Pulis, but I don't think he's a particularly big upgrade, whereas I think Everton from Unsworth to Allardyce have made a big jump, and what West Brom just haven't. I think is pretty similar type of calibre of manager, really.
I think when he took over from Pulis at Palace, whereas Pulis was playing 3 very defensive midfielders, and then 3 up front, he was pushing one of those 3 on a little bit, so just slightly more attacking.
Yeah, but, I think as well, it's probably just a change, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Pulis, things have got so negative there that it was always going to be difficult. I think Pardew had the Palace connection though, which helped him there.
Sure.
You won't have that at West Brom, and if anything, I think that maybe they won't go to these sort of crafty Cockney ways of things.
Absolutely.
And I don't. The Newcastle fans didn't particularly take to him, and I'm not. If it doesn't start well, I think I don't see him being a long-term appointment.
Well, he's got Palace first up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What's the latest on the relegation from Paddy Power, please, Ed?
Okay, so Swansea look doomed. They're 4-11 currently. Then you've West Ham at evens, which is incredible. But Huddersfield 11-8, Palace 7-5. Bruce, you'll be pleased to know they're gone odds against now. West Brom 11-5, Brighton 4-1, Stoke 9-2. Newcastle, Bournemouth, both 11-2, and Everton then are 11s and 16s bar.
Still a really intriguing picture, but we're out of the bookmakers' relegation zone, so as you say, that's good. Now then, Dan, Salah, is he a realistic Golden Boot contender? Because he's leading the way, isn't he?
He is. I'm not. I think there's just other players there that are more likely to keep that run going. The likes of Kane, Aguero. I mean, they've got a history of getting to near a goal a game ratio. I mean, he's doing fantastically well for Liverpool at the moment. But I just wonder if you can keep those high standards up from that position for an entire season. I mean, Dele Alli was doing it for a period, last season from an attacking midfield position. But it's very hard to get to that goal a game, which you're probably going to need this year. If Aguero and Kane stay fit, I think it's going to be very hard to match them.
Okay, what's the latest on the boot?
So Harry Kane is still 5, he's 2-1. Aguero and Salah are both 11-2. I agree, I think that Salah at 11-2 looks quite short. Then you've got Jesus and Lukaku and Morata, all 8s. Lacazette 20s, and Raheem Sterling 33s then.
Great. There's loads of really good, intriguing anti-post stuff, isn't it? When's the half-time team talk coming up? A couple of weeks away for that,
Yeah, I think it'll be the week leading. It's the week leading into Christmas. So
always enjoy the half-time team talk. That's the pull-out in the Racing Post. Round about, as you say, middle of December, where Mark and Dan and the lads look at all the existing value out there. And to that end, Ed, I know you're always looking out for some value on the outrights, aren't you? What have you spotted this week for us?
On the outrights, I don't have much at the minute. Let me see. Actually, I do have one. Yeah. So basically, I think a lot of bookmakers are still rating Real Madrid better than Barcelona in the Copa del Rey betting. And I definitely have Barcelona favs against Real now. These on current form, like Real seem to have gone off the boil quite spectacularly given their early season form when they were beating Barcelona convincingly in the Super Cup and all that in Spain. And yeah, Barcelona, I think, is around available there about 13-8, and yeah, that looks like a squeak value to me, you know.
Barcelona for the Copa del Rey. Mark, which question do you want to do?
Yeah, I'll take the Man City one about, is it a wobble or the sign of champions? I think it is the sign of champions. It's not the fact that they've managed to win these games lately, really, it's how they played in those games. If they played poorly and nicked a winner, then I would be worried. But actually, against Huddersfield, they've dominated almost the entire 90 minutes, and even though the goal was late, you felt like it was coming. And against Southampton again, I think it was 12 shots on target to 2, and Southampton created some opportunities on the counter-attack for sure.
But the header should have gone in.
But overall, I think the two performances still warranted victories, and I would have been concerned had they not played well and nicked the victories. Where they've played well and it's come late, and I think that it may come late a lot of times for City. The way that they play, the way they wear down opponents,
they knock you out like Arsenal.
The ability they've got off the bench to hurt you from a variety of different ways.
Do you enjoy watching them, Mark?
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, they are. Whenever people question Pep Guardiola before, it always seemed quite bizarre to me because Barcelona weren't that good before he arrived, and Bayern Munich haven't been that good after he left. So I mean, he's left legacies at both clubs, and I think he'll do the same at Manchester City.
How many points will they win it by?
I said on the Guardian podcast 15.
Get him,
I said 15, Bruce, and I've sort of regretted that afterwards. That's maybe a bit sort of Phil Neville just sort of throwing it, just a ridiculous one. I think they'll win by 10.
How are you getting on the Guardian one with all the bants? It's quite
I haven't been on with Barn. No, so I mean I was on with Barry Glendenning. I felt okay at his level. Some of the other ones maybe a bit too intelligent for me. But exactly. But 10 points.
Okay, Dan, which question are you going to take?
I'm going to take the West Brom manager one. I mean, I'm wondering if they've missed a trick in not waiting a bit longer to make a decision. I mean, caretaker managers are a bit unfashionable at the moment because of what happened with David
Ainsworth. All right,
Gary Megson, he's almost a demigod at West Brom. Two promotions he's had there before. He's an experienced manager. He made an impact early on, and I just wonder if they could have just let that play out a little bit longer.
Is Pards keeping him on?
Is Pards?
Is he going to keep Megson?
No, I think he's looking to bring his own backroom team in, but I'm not certain on that. But I just think it was missing they could have had a little bit of a longer look around. I'm not convinced that Pardew's the right man. I'm not sure his team's have actually got a noticeable identity, whether they're especially attacking or defensive. And I think he's going to come under pressure from the fans because of the Pulis regime to be more attacking. I'm not sure they've got the players for that at the moment, and I just think Megson would have been a good fit for them in the short term, maybe even a bit longer.
So still very much relegation contenders.
Yeah,
for you, Dan?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Ed, what's your question?
Yeah, I'll take the one on Everton, Bruce, and Allardyce and all that. Like I agree. I think like Sam's a quality manager. Like I mean, when he left Bolton, Blackburn, Newcastle, and Sunderland, they all got relegated. Subsequently, he got West Ham promoted. He got Palace and Sunderland out of jail as well recently. So yeah, he's a quality manager. The only thing I will say is they were being linked with like the likes of Simeone and all this kind of stuff. I'd say a lot of
didn't happen. I still can't believe he didn't want to leave Atletico Madrid.
Yeah. Like it was. I'd say he doesn't even know who Everton are. But anyway, like it's just kind of stupid. I think they've made themselves kind of look kind of stupid, to be perfectly honest. Like in terms of their ambition is too ambitious, and now they've probably gone the other way. I would have personally gone for Dyche myself, with a view to a more long-term kind of appointment. But yeah, like I mean, he'll definitely keep them safe. But they probably weren't in that much trouble anyway. You know what I mean? They were unlikely to get relegated still. Like, you know what I mean?
Dyche would have took it as well. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how you can have Allardyce or Paulo Fonseca apparently was the Shakhtar manager was the second choice. How do you have? I mean, those two.
Where's the strategy of they kept switching between
Martin
style
O'Neill,
manager to total football, and even it got to the last two, and you got a complete contrast between the styles of football you're gonna play. It just doesn't seem to be any clear thinking.
Is it. They recruit these managers in the most haphazard fashion, don't they? And then blame the manager when it goes all wrong. Football's weird. Okay, competition time. Every week we give listeners and viewers a chance to win a £25 or €25 bet, courtesy of Paddy Power. All you've got to do is answer the upcoming question correctly, tweeting it using the hashtag Postcast. The question is, which team currently sits on top of the championship table? Just tweet the name of that team with the hashtag Postcast and you could win. Last week's winner was George Castleton from London. Well done, George.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
OK, we move into the busy and crucial December period in the 2017-2018 story. And we start off at 12:30 on Saturday lunchtime with Chelsea versus Newcastle. I guess given the relative form of the two sides, plenty of people will see it's an absolute home banker. Just how sure are Chelsea if you want to back them, Ed?
They are currently 2-9. The draw is 11-2, and the Geordies are 14-1.
We'll stick with you, Ed. What's going to happen here?
Yeah, well, Newcastle have only had one away win all season. That was at Swansea. The other games, they've lost 3 of them and drawn 2. I watched them against Watford last weekend in St James's, and they were shocking. Like, they were awful. They salvaged a result against West Brom during the week, but like Chelsea, for me, Chelsea will definitely win this with the system Newcastle play. Like Hosselu's, definitely away from home. They play Hosselu, or there's talk of Mitrovic coming in this weekend up top on his own with like a Perez or someone behind him. I just think it's very ineffective, and they're too isolated. Like also they're missing Lascelles at the back really badly. I think this combined with Kante's return at Chelsea. I just see Chelsea to win 2-0 as a cracking bet at 5-6. Like Chelsea have only conceded once at home with Kante and team, and that was at Burnley on the opening day of the season, where they were probably caught cold and they fielded a slightly weaker team as well. So Chelsea to win 2-0 for me at 5-6.
That seems to make perfect sense. What about you, Mark?
Yeah, I've got Chelsea to win 2-0 as well. Bruce,
show me your notes. Yeah, he did.
I mean, Newcastle. Benitez has been digging out the ball, doesn't he? In the last few days, I think he's probably trying to get a reaction for January to make sure he's got money to spend. There's only so much he can do with the squad of players that he's got. I mean, they are just spiralling a little bit into trouble. I think they'll be okay with him in charge, but 1 point from a possible 12. And Chelsea, 4 of their last 5 Premier League games have been 1-0. The one exception was the 1-1 at Liverpool when Conte was quite defensive in that game. I just can't really see Newcastle troubling Chelsea defensively. The other bet I was looking at was draw Chelsea double result, because I mean Swansea set up and frustrated them for the first 45 minutes on Wednesday night, and I'm assuming that Benitez will try the same. He was quite attacking at Old Trafford against Manchester United, and they ended up on the wrong end of a 4-1 there eventually, so I don't think he'll make that mistake again.
How many do you reckon Chelsea might score, Mark?
2.
Okay, Dan, what do you reckon here?
Yeah, I hate to be a dreadful bore, but I've gone for Chelsea win 2-0 as well on this one.
We love that. 3 yeses for that.
Yeah, pretty much the same argument. I mean, Chelsea were just quietly churning the results out, going a little bit. Nobody's really talking about them, but they're picking up points regularly. I mean, the Cruz I know it was 1-0 against Swansea. It was Cruz control, 21 shots to 2 on the stats. So they've had a cruise. Newcastle have come back and got that result against West Brom, but would have had to work hard to get it as well. So you wonder as well, with a fairly small squad there, there might be a bit of tiredness coming into play as well. So I think I could have considered the way Benitez sets his teams out, I could have considered that draw Chelsea double result if Lascelles had been playing and they're a bit more tighter at the back. They don't look tight at the moment at the back. The Watford game's been mentioned. Conceded another 2 in the week, 4 at Manchester United. They just don't look solid, which is what Benitez teams usually are. So I think Chelsea comfortable here, 2 or 3-0.
That was easy. The lads all think Chelsea to win 2-0 at 5-6. Right then, 5:30. Will there be agreement on this? This is an absolute cracker. The game of the weekend. It's Arsenal versus Manchester United at the Emirates. And Ed, what's the latest betting?
So Arsenal are 6-4, the draw is 9-4, and United are 15-8.
Ooh, Mark, what do you think?
I've been round and round in circles with this game. I think you could make a case for all 3 outcomes. I'm going to the goals angle, under 2.5 goals. I mean, often been said, Jose Mourinho in these big games, he just doesn't change his type no matter what anybody says about him. It's the same, and I don't anticipate anything different. He's not going to allow Sanchez and Ozil the kind of space that they enjoyed against Tottenham, because if you do that, then they can really hurt you.
Will Sanchez be playing up top, do you think?
He could do, although, I mean, Welbeck's another option there, and Welbeck actually probably sets the press quite well. As Lacazette, I mean, Lacazette's maybe not as silky as some of them other Arsenal players, but he sets the press very well, works tirelessly for the team. But I was just having a look at the results between the big 6. If you take out Manchester City, who are just almost in a league of their own, there's been 8 matches this season between them. 6 of those were under 2.5 goals. Manchester United's 1-0, 1-0, 0-0, and Arsenal, since they were hammered 4-0 at Liverpool, really tightened up with a 0-0 at Chelsea, the 2-0 against Tottenham as well. The other one that went over was Tottenham v Liverpool. So I mean, Liverpool are the one there, probably unsurprisingly, that get involved in games that are probably more end to end than the others. But
do you think Arsenal are slightly underrated in terms of their defensive quality?
No. Not really.
You still think they've got a rick
I still
in them?
think they have. I still think that they do allow, probably more opportunities against them than most of the other big 6. Liverpool would be the other ones in there. But I mean, if you have a look at actually on paper, they have tightened right up. So
what's the unders then? What price are unders?
Unders is, I think, 10 to 11. It's
10
like
to
each
11.
or 2. I mean, I'd back unders at 10 to 11 in any big game involving Jose Mourinho.
That seems to make perfect sense to me. Dan, what do you think?
I don't think Arsenal will lose this game, so I think Arsenal draw no bets around 8 to 11. I mean, back to the Mourinho away from home tactics. I mean, he's had since he's joined United, they've had 8 games away against the big 6. They've not won any of them. They've lost 5 of them. The other 3, the draws, were all 0-0 draws. Goals for United 1, goals against 10. I mean, those are damning statistics really for United under Jose away from home. Arsenal, I think that the key for them here is whether they not to push too much, not overextend themselves. United are going to look to sit in and hit them on the break, and did it the way they played away to Liverpool, the 0-0 earlier in the season. Liverpool and Klopp were criticised for not going attacking enough, but they still had most of the game, had some good chances to win the game, and quite understandably didn't want to expose themselves to the risk of losing the game. They're still with a better team, so I think Arsenal, as long as they're not too gung-ho, the worst that's going to happen for them is a draw, and every chance they'll win it.
And Ed, what's your verdict on this one?
Yeah, no, I agree entirely with everything Mark said there. I've the unders here at 2.5. I thought it looked big at 10 to 11 too. I think it's a cracking bet. The only thing I could add to it, or another angle to the game, is that with Lacazette out, Sanchez will probably play further up the pitch. Now, that hinges, like they may go with Giroud, but if Sanchez does play further up the pitch in central, in Lacazette's normal role, he could be worth a dabble at 9-2 as well. But yeah, under 2.5, we've my main bet at 10 to 11 here.
Okay, let's rattle through the 3 p.m. non-televised Premier League games. Ed, we'll start with you. Give us a show of betting and then a very quick-fire verdict. So Brighton v Liverpool.
Brighton versus Liverpool. Brighton are 11-2. The draw is 100-30, and Liverpool are 1-2.
And who's going to win?
I'll go with Brighton double chance there.
Okay, Dan?
Yeah, I'll go with the draw. Brighton will cause them problems from set pieces.
Mark?
Liverpool to win by 1 goal.
1 goal. Okay, then we've got Everton, Huddersfield, Ed?
So Everton are 4-6. The draw is 11-4, and it's 4-1 Huddersfield. I will go with a draw there as well.
Dan?
Yeah, I'll go with the draw. Everton too short.
Okay, Mark?
I think I'd give a chance to Huddersfield. I think they may be just down tools against Arsenal a little bit there and saved themselves for this game.
Okay. Leicester versus Burnley, Ed?
8-11 Leicester, 13-5 the draw, and Burnley are 4-1. I will go with tentatively Leicester there at 8-11.
Mark?
No goal scorer. Burnley not allowing Leicester the space for Vardy to run into behind.
Similar attack, under 2.5 goals. Leicester like to counter-attack. Burnley will sit in. It could be a stalemate.
And Stoke versus Swansea.
Stoke 5-6, the draw 12-5, and Swansea are 7-2.
And what's going to happen?
I'll go with Swansea there at 7-2.
Why?
I just think Stoke are so all over the shop. You couldn't be backing them at 5-6 for me, even against the poor Swansea side. So they might spring a surprise, and at 7-2, I'd give them a dabble there.
Righty ho, Dan. Bit of a clash of styles, this, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Stoke. They tend to get a win when they really need it. They're the second highest scorers of the teams in the bottom half. Swansea just seem to me on a downward spiral at the moment.
Yeah, I thought Stoke as well. Swansea averaging fewer than 2 shots on target per game. They've just got no attack.
When's Pulis taking over, do you think?
Well, that's not their problem, is it? They need somebody, I think, to coach with the other end. But yeah, he will be favourite, won't he, for that job when it becomes available, and it may not be long.
Watford versus Tottenham, which brings back memories of Glenn Hoddle's exquisite chip in the early 80s. If you've never seen that goal, do YouTube it. It's an absolute beauty. How are we betting there, Ed?
So Watford are 7-2, the draw is 3-1, and Tottenham are 8-11. I'll go with Watford at 7-2 there.
Yeah, that sounds big. Mark?
Over 2.5 goals. Watford have taken some real batterings against the two Manchester clubs. Even against Arsenal, they conceded, but they've got a real threat going forward. Tottenham missing Alderweireld at the back, but obviously got Kane, Ali, Ericsson, etc.
Is that short, the overs?
Well, I mean, if it is, you can always play the over 3.5. Might be a better way in.
Dan?
Yeah, I'm similar tack, but I'll go 2-2 draw at 12-1. I think there'll be goals in this. Watford's games in the Prem of 49 goals they produce, which is 3.5 per game.
Presumably, if you're sitting in a nice bar somewhere overseas, that's the 3 p.m. game they should be showing, isn't it?
Brighton v Liverpool is probably a big runner in that one.
I don't suppose West Brom Palace is going to be live. What's the latest bet in there, Ed?
So West Brom are 7-5, the draw is 21-10, and Palace are 21-10 as well. I go with draw there myself anyway.
Dan?
Yeah, it screams draw to me. I don't think either side. I think they'll be more fearful of losing the game than trying to win it.
Mark?
Probably strongest 3 p.m. Bet here. Palace draw no bet. I think they're just quite a bit better than West Brom. I think they're a mid-table team almost, Palace.
Yeah, good. The only thing is, without boring everyone, he's played 4-4-2 against Brighton. He's got Wilf next to Benteke because he doesn't like him isolated. But it leaves Ruben Loftus-Cheek, ineffective out wide. I'd go 4-2-3-1, play Loftus-Cheek behind Benteke, get width with Wilf and Andros and go at him. I wish he'd do that, but he's doing a good job, Roy. OK, so fascinating Saturday, and we're going to get the naps, and then we'll look at Sunday. So let's do the naps.
This will not be beaten.
Dan Childs, you can go first.
Yeah, I'm going to go for it. It's an all League Two clash in the FA Cup. Exeter at Forest Green. Exeter to win the game. They're fourth in League Two at the moment. Won 2-0 against promotion rivals Accrington last weekend. Was a really good performance. Forest Green is 16 points behind them in League Two. So I think Exeter will show why they're much better.
Mark Langdon?
I'm FA Cup as well. Luton to win at Gateshead. They have been backed, but I still think that there's probably juice in the price. Well, they were 4-5 earlier.
Really?
Yeah, they were 4-5 at Gateshead when the prices first went up. I think they're sort of 7-10, 4-6ish now, but still looks pretty solid. They picked a strong team when they beat Portsmouth in the last round. Scored 12 goals in their last 3 matches. Gateshead 15th in the National League. There aren't many stats knocking around for the National League, so I'm not sure if that's a true reflection of where they should be. But from just speaking to Dan, who knows the non-league, he doesn't think they're anything better than mid-table. And I mean, Luton look like they could be sort of top 6 League One team at the moment.
And they can really open up on you, can't they?
They can,
well?
and they're a very
few flashy scores.
The problem is that they're a little bit more negative on the road, but obviously a replay not ideal for Nathan Jones and his squad, given they want promotion. So I'm expecting a more aggressive performance.
Okay, I'm going to oppose Brentford, who they've got another West London derby, haven't they? Fulham, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Fulham are a hard old team to get right.
So
but
Brentford.
Well, they are very difficult, but I just looked at the prices and thought Fulham looked a bit too big at 23-10 or whatever they are. Ed, what's your nap?
Okay, so I'm going to go with Napoli at 11-10 to beat Juventus. Those prices kind of rate these two teams the exact same, or maybe Napoli slightly better, but I think Napoli are a good bit better now at this stage, and I expect them to to win this match and hopefully tighten their grasp on the title, their first one since 1990. It would be Higuain's a doubt for Juventus as well. I just think they look very vulnerable at the back. They could see the 3 in their last game against Sampdoria away. So, Napoli for me, 11-10. Just this game's on Friday as well, just to let people know as well.
Jolly good. Let's look at Sunday next.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Hi there, it's Bruce Millington, Mark Langdon, Dan Childs and Paddy Power's Ed Quigley, looking ahead to 2 live Premier League games on Sunday starting at 1:30. Bournemouth versus Southampton at Dean Court. And Ed Quigley, how do Paddy Power bet on this testing fixture?
So Bournemouth on the slight drift after last night. They're currently 15-8. The draw is 11-5 and Southampton are 8-5.
We'll start with you, Dan. Do you feel like Southampton just moving back in the right direction now?
Well, 2 good performances. I just think this is a classic case of an overreaction in the market to one match form. I mean, if you looked at this game before, I know the midweek games have happened, but if you looked at it before then, Bournemouth would be, they're a point above Southampton before the midweek results in the league. They've been going well. Southampton, I mean, they had the good result against Everton, who were dreadful on the day. They played well at Man City as well, but as has been mentioned, the stats for that game, City created and missed a lot of chances as well, and they would have had to work very hard in that game as well to be hanging on for that result until the 96th minute for the point. You wonder how their legs are going to be at the weekend at Bournemouth. Bournemouth played at home to Burnley. Burnley are a direct side. They've done a job on Bournemouth. Bournemouth probably better against other teams that play more football as well. I think it will suit them more playing against Southampton. As I said, there's only 2 points between them in the league. Bournemouth home advantage, 15-8 to me, just seems a bit too big.
You're going to pick the cherries. Who are you going to pick, Mark?
I'm going to go for Charlie Austin to score first, which kind of plays into what Dan was saying there about Southampton's legs maybe going in the second half. So that's why I wouldn't go for them. They started very well in a similar type of fixture against Brighton recently on TV when they scored early. I mean, if Southampton score, I mean, there are very few players that look like scoring for them, and Austin was taken out. He played long, didn't he, against City? So I think that Charlie Austin, having got the couple of goals that he did against,
he could have got more as well.
He could have
had the beans at one point.
And I think that if you're playing up front, if Southampton score, basically, you're looking around and saying, well, who will score? Yeah. He looks by far the most likely. Whenever him or Gabbiadini plays up front on their own, I'd just back them, and it looks like being Austin.
And what about you, Ed?
I think this game is very hard, very, very difficult to call in my opinion. I've no major opinion on it, but if I had a gun to my head, I'd probably go with Bournemouth drawing no bet at evens, just because they're slightly bigger and they're obviously at home as well. Both teams have had pretty poor starts really to the season, and Bournemouth's home form is pretty poor, and Southampton's away form they've only won 1 of 6 as well, and that was against Palace when they were in a poor state at that stage anyway. So I go with Bournemouth that draw no bet at evens.
Righty-ho, 4 o'clock, Man City versus West Ham. I presume, Ed, this is the longest price West Ham have ever been for a league game. What's the match prices?
So City are 1-12, the draw is 11-1, and West Ham are 25.
25-1 West Ham to win a league football match. That's absolutely extraordinary, isn't it?
I remember when Blackburn, I think, were 25 when they won at Old Trafford on New Year's Eve one year, which I think is the biggest prize Premier League win in history, if I'm right.
Quick, they played for both clubs?
Man City and West Ham. Trevor Sinclair?
Yeah, you could have that. Ian Bishop.
Yeah, I think there's Joe Hart,
Zabaleta. There's plenty, isn't there? Yeah, we could probably get a whole team
City
out.
have had the better end of that deal.
But we'll first get Ed Quigley's expert verdict on Man City West Ham. Ed, talk to us.
So, I just think that, obviously, City are obviously in impeccable form. They're breaking club records in terms of winning domestic matches and all that. And they have covered the handicap, against Liverpool, Palace, Stoke and Burnley. They've beaten them all by 3 or more. But I suppose the only teams they failed to cover it with was against Southampton and Everton at home. Just at the prices, though, I know West Ham have been very poor, and Moisey is a poor appointment in my opinion as well. But I think the betting public is going to be piling into City on the minus. And I just think going against the public and this kind of stuff generally pays dividends. So I would actually go with West Ham +3 at 5 to 6, which, as mad as that sounds, I think is a shrewd enough bet.
So that's West Ham to lose, to either win, draw or lose by fewer than 3 goals. Swimming against the tide there. Mark, what do you reckon?
I'm trying to swim against the tide as well by going for the first goal after 18 minutes. I mean, it's fairly low, and I'm just hoping that West Ham set up to do a damage limitation job. I mean, whether they've got the defenders to do that is another question. But if you have a look at City, most of their best work seems to be done later on, as we discussed earlier on the postcast. And actually, in their 12 home games this season, 8 of those, it took at least 20 minutes for the deadlock to be broken. It took 17 minutes against Stoke when they scored 7. Some bad enough teams have gone there and held out for at least that time. Feyenoord, I think Feyenoord probably would be worse than West Ham, and that they held out for a long time. Crystal Palace did as well till nearly the break. Burnley are better defensively than West Ham, but even West Ham, Manchester United, Tottenham, Liverpool held out for at least 20 minutes in all of those games. I mean, it's not a great betting heat, is it? But that's the way. I think if you're going to have a bet, the way to go, and just hope that maybe they get an injury early and sit on the deck for a couple of minutes as well. That's all in your
Billy
favour.
Bonds coming out the tunnel in the claret and blue. You know, you've got a chance.
City will win the game. I think it's just by how many.
Okay, how many will it be, Dan?
I'm going to go with the tide. Actually,
I
just
like
think, no, I looked at. I mean, obviously the Everton game was a huge blow for them, and there was quite a bit of expectation that they would go up there and get a decent result. Fancied them myself, actually. Yeah, I did. I fancied them myself. I think the first goal was key there. It's such a psychological blow. They've also had the physical blow of Winston Reid went off injured in that game. Or I think it's their best of an ordinary bunch of defenders. I mean, Declan Rice come on to replace him. They've also got Font out injured, Collins out injured. There's not a lot. When to go to City with that few decent centre back options is a real worry for me, and I just think looking at a way to get with City. I mean, you're looking at double result looked too short, win to nil looked too short. Now I come across City to win both halves, and 5 of the last 6 Premier League home games they have won both halves, including the 3-1 against Arsenal, and the price for that was 4 to 5. So I thought that's reasonable to take.
Yeah, I like that one. Excellent stuff. Okay, let's have a little look at the Champions League on Tuesday then. So we wrap up with the group phase. A few dead rubbers, a few issues need to be sorted out. Man, you've got CSKA, Celtic have got Anderlecht, Chelsea have got Atletico Madrid, and then on Wednesday we've got Liverpool versus Spartak, Shakhtar versus Man City, and Tottenham versus Apple Nicosia. Boys, 1 bet each for next week's Champions League, please. Dan Charles, you can go first.
I'm going to go with Chelsea at home to Atletico. Although they won the away game late on, they were the better side in that match. They need a win to win the group. Their odds against 11 to 10 to win the game. Atletico Madrid also need a win to have a chance of qualifying, but they're also relying on Roma not winning at home to Karabag, so their chances are pretty slim. I just think Chelsea are in quite a good groove at the moment, and odds against them to win at home, they need to do to win the group is a good bet.
And Simeone's head will still be turned by missing out on the Everton
job.
Well,
exactly, he'll be devastated.
Studying the Atlas, looking for Everton. Well, where is it?
Mark?
I'm going to go for Shakhtar to beat Manchester City. I mean, I was surprised actually that you could get. It's not much in the betting for this one. Ordinarily, of course, City would be strong favourites to win in Ukraine, but they've already qualified. They've already won the group, and they've got Manchester United on Sunday. So I'd be disappointed if I've heard of half of the Man City team, even though they've got a good squad in key areas like centre back. They haven't particularly got that many options. So I mean, surely Pep Guardiola plays an absolute reserve team in this game. Shakhtar need a point to qualify, so draw no bet. It wouldn't surprise me if it fizzled out somewhat.
That makes sense. Ed, what about you?
I'm going to go with Feyenoord double chance at home to Napoli. Napoli still have a chance of qualifying, but I honestly don't think the Champions League is not their MO at all. I think they're feeling pretty. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a lot of changes. They're currently 2 to 9, and I just can see the Feyenoord price collapsing. And Feyenoord double chance for me against Napoli.
Okay, and Ed, when did you get back from your trip? You've been to Dubai, the Philippines, Hong Kong. What was the highlight?
Sorry, what was that?
What was the highlight of your globe-trotting adventure?
It was all Hong Kong, I suppose. And I like Dubai a lot as well, but Hong Kong was amazing, and you can still get on over there and all that. So yeah, it's a top spot.
And what are you doing this weekend? Just your laundry and unpacking your rucksack, or are you grafting?
This weekend's definitely chilling. I have to realign the finances, so yeah, that's definitely just take it handy before Christmas now.
Like Craig David is going to chill on Sunday. Mark, what are you doing? You off to see some far-flung team?
I am. Well, not far-flung, but not far from these offices, actually. Millwall, Sheffield United. So get to see whether the Blades really are sort of serious about promotion.
I'm on them at 12-1 for promotion.
Just
not a bad bet, is it?
It's not a bad bet. Just having a mini wobble. I think they're probably at sort of the Tottenham level of blip into a wobble. But yeah, a good opportunity for them to, because Millwall have struggled in recent weeks as well.
I last went to see Millwall in 1985 Cup game, and I vowed never ever to watch Millwall in the flesh again. I hated it so much. How I've still got my head on my shoulders after that is unbelievable.
It's my second visit to the Den this season. I saw them beat Norwich 4-0 earlier on in the campaign, so it's not quite as bad as it used to be, Bruce, for sure.
For me, no way. Okay, what about you, Dan? What are you doing this weekend?
Family derby, Watford against Spurs.
Of course it is, yeah.
So, yeah.
You actually could get half and half scarf there and mean it, couldn't you?
I may well do, yeah.
I think you should.
They support both clubs.
They support both clubs. You're going to that, are you?
Yeah.
Taking Joseph?
Yeah, taking my son, who would be desperate for Watford to win. So,
brilliant stuff. Okay, chaps, thank you very much, Mark. Thanks, Dan. Thank you, Ed. We are back next Thursday. Don't forget, if you do enjoy the postcasts, do please review, subscribe and rate us on iTunes.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.